The British royal family has always lived under the weight of history, tradition, and public expectation. Every action, every silence, and every decision is scrutinized, often magnified far beyond its original intent. At the center of this delicate balance stands Prince William, the future king of the United Kingdom, a man raised to believe that duty must always come first. Yet, in recent years, many royal watchers and supporters have quietly asked a painful question. Did Prince William make a mistake, one that created a lasting rift within the family? This is not a story of scandal or accusation. It is a story of emotional distance, misunderstood intentions, and the heavy cost of responsibility. Behind palace walls, where protocol often outweighs personal feeling, a series of moments may have reshaped relationships forever. Prince William was never meant to live an ordinary life. From childhood, his path was clear: service, discipline, and preparation for the throne. His upbringing emphasized restraint, composure, and loyalty to the institution above all else. This upbringing shaped him into a steady, dependable figure admired by millions. But it also meant that emotional expression often took a back seat. In royal life, silence is sometimes seen as strength. Unfortunately, silence can also be misunderstood as indifference. As William grew into adulthood, the expectations only intensified. Every personal decision carried institutional consequences. Over time, this created a quiet tension between who he was expected to be and who he was as a brother, son, and family member. The royal family may symbolize unity, but it is still a family shaped by loss, pressure, and public judgment. Historical expectations have long demanded emotional restraint, sometimes at the cost of personal closeness. William's generation inherited not only a crown, but unresolved emotional wounds from the past. Growing up in the public eye taught him caution. Trust was limited, vulnerability risky. While this protected the monarchy, it also created distance between family members who desperately needed understanding rather than protocol. Over time, this emotional gap became harder to bridge. Royal watchers often point to a period when family communication appeared to shift. Public appearances felt colder. Joint engagements became rare. Body language, something William was always careful about, seemed guarded. While no single event defines a misstep, it is often a collection of choices that lead to emotional fracture. Choosing duty over dialogue, choosing silence over reassurance, choosing distance over confrontation. These choices may have felt necessary at the time, but they carried consequences. In royal families, emotional wounds are rarely healed quickly, especially when public perception adds pressure to remain composed. Prince William has always been known for his controlled public image. When tensions arise, he rarely responds publicly. From an institutional standpoint, this is wise. The monarchy survives on stability, not emotional reaction. However, silence can feel like abandonment to those seeking connection. Family members may interpret it as a refusal to engage, even when it is meant as protection. This is where the idea of a misstep emerges, not from malice, but from miscommunication. A lack of open dialogue can turn temporary disagreement into permanent distance. What the public sees is only a fraction of royal reality. Behind closed doors, emotions exist: fear, disappointment, sadness, and regret. Sources close to royal circles have often emphasized that William carries deep emotional responsibility. He believes strongly in preserving the monarchy's integrity, yet this belief sometimes places him in opposition to personal relationships that require empathy more than leadership. This emotional divide is perhaps the most heartbreaking part of the story, not because of drama, but because of what remains unsaid. To the public, Prince William appears composed, confident, and prepared for kingship. To critics, he may appear distant or unyielding. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. Public perception rarely accounts for the emotional cost of leadership. Decisions are judged without context. Silence is labeled coldness. Restraint is mistaken for lack of care. Yet those who observe closely see a man burdened by responsibility, one who may struggle to reconcile personal emotion with institutional duty. When relationships within the royal family strain, the effects ripple outward. Public trust becomes fragile, media narratives intensify, supporters choose sides. Prince William's choices, whether intentional or unavoidable, have shaped a new chapter in royal history. A chapter defined less by scandal and more by emotional distance. This rift has not destroyed the monarchy, but it has changed how people see it. The royal family feels more human, more vulnerable, and more imperfect than ever before. No one trains you for emotional leadership at this level. Prince William was trained to rule, not to navigate public family fractures under global scrutiny. Every decision carries consequences. Every silence is interpreted. Every action becomes symbolic. In such an environment, even the best intentions can result in pain. If this was a misstep, it was one made in an impossible situation, where there were no perfect choices, only difficult ones. History will likely remember Prince William as a stabilizing figure, but leadership is evolving. Modern audiences value emotional intelligence as much as tradition. The question remains, can duty and compassion coexist more openly in the future? Can the monarchy adapt to allow emotional honesty without sacrificing stability? William's journey suggests that these questions are far from simple, but they are necessary. Time has a way of softening even the deepest divides. Healing does not require public apologies or dramatic gestures. Sometimes it requires quiet understanding and patience. Whether or not relationships fully recover, the story serves as a reminder that even royal figures are human. Mistakes, misunderstandings, and emotional pain do not disappear behind palace walls. Prince William's story is not one of villain or hero. It is the story of a man caught between history and heart. If there was a misstep, it was born from pressure, not cruelty. If there is a rift, it exists not because of hatred, but because of silence. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: even those destined to wear a crown must still learn how to protect the fragile bonds of family. As we reach the end of this story, it's important to pause and reflect on the human side of the monarchy. Prince William is more than a figurehead or a symbol. Behind the polished public appearances and carefully crafted statements lies a man facing challenges that few of us can truly imagine. The choices he makes are not simple. Each decision is weighed against centuries of tradition, the expectations of the public, and the responsibility toward the institution itself. But these decisions also carry a profound personal cost, costs that are invisible to the cameras but felt deeply within the family. Distance, misunderstandings, and unspoken words can create rifts that no title or privilege can heal. It's easy to look at headlines and assume that royal life is perfect, glamorous, or untouchable. But stories like this remind us that even those who seem to live under a golden spotlight experience heartbreak, frustration, and regret. A single choice, made with the best intentions, can have far-reaching consequences. Sometimes what feels like a misstep is simply a human being trying to navigate impossible circumstances. As viewers, we are invited to witness not just the events, but the emotions behind them, the sorrow, the tension, and the quiet moments of reflection. The palace walls may hide these truths from the world, but they are very real to those living within them. And in that reality, even the strongest and most capable individuals must grapple with feelings of doubt, sadness, and responsibility. Perhaps the greatest lesson from this story is about balance between duty and family, between public expectation and private truth, and between history and heart. Prince William's journey is a reminder that leadership is never just about titles or crowns. It is also about empathy, understanding, and the courage to face one's own imperfections. As we watch the royal family continue to evolve, we are reminded that reconciliation, understanding, and healing are possible, even in the most high-profile families. Emotional distance can be bridged, Silent moments can turn into heartfelt conversations, and even the deepest rifts can slowly mend with time and care. So, as we close this chapter, let us remember to see beyond the headlines, beyond the public appearances, and beyond the grandeur of the monarchy. Let us recognize the human stories, the emotional struggles, and the quiet strength behind the crown. Because at the end of the day, Prince William is not just a prince. He is a brother, a son, and a human being trying to protect the delicate bonds of family while carrying the weight of history on his shoulders. This is the story of responsibility, sacrifice, and the bittersweet complexity of life behind palace walls. A story that continues to unfold, reminding us that even those destined to